magic of the Cybernet Space Cube, the computer-enhanced podcast of the future. Transformers Slag Podcast.
What up, everybody? Unexpected live stream today. Normally we do it on Saturday nights, but today is a special occasion, and I kind of want to do it while it's still fresh in my mind. Today was the preview screening for reviewers and advanced screening, whatever, for Transformers Rise of the Beast. And I went to see it in theaters, and I want to give my 2 cents and everything like that. Big warning up in advance. Again, I put it in the title and everything. There will be spoilers. There's a lot of stuff to talk about, a lot of unexpected stuff that Ian and I didn't expect from my end. Yeah, we're going to be talking Transformers Rise of the Beast, my thoughts, my opinions, some of the Easter eggs, everything like that, while it's still fresh here, because who knows when I'm going to be seeing it again. But figured I'd just put it out there for you guys. So once again, reminder, it will be spoilers. So if you have not seen the movie and want to be surprised, and there is quite a few big surprises, I heavily suggest you don't watch. Or come back after you see it on Friday or something. So few things to just kind of establish off the bat. Did I like it or did I not like it? I thought it was pretty good. This isn't just like a new movie feeling or something. It had a good pace. It was something that I felt the movie didn't overstay its welcome, or I found myself looking at my cell phone. Man, what time is it? It felt good that there was it was one good set piece after another. It was action scene, small little human scene, action scene, small little human scene. And it was a good pace with that. I found that this movie, as opposed to all the other Transformer movies we'd had up to this point, minus the 86 one, had a ton of robot stuff, a ton of robot interactions. The robots were actually characters. Optimus Prime actually had character development, actually had growth. There was actually something to him instead of it just being a Peter Cullen one shot, we must protect the cube because the cube is us to protect, there was actually a bit of a character growth. It almost felt like if anyone went back and watched the first 3 episodes of Generation 1, More Meets parts 1, 2, and 3, Peter Cullen was playing a very different Optimus Prime in those first 3 parts as opposed to the rest of the Generation 1 cartoon. Very John Wayne, very kind of low, and only lost his temper in 1 or 2 scenes, oddly enough, around the time of Mirage, oddly. But it's something where there was a lot going on here that I appreciated. If you were a kid growing up in the 90s, there was a lot of, how do I put it, just referential stuff. You see a kid wearing a Power Ranger shirt. You see a kid with a Power Ranger poster in his bedroom. Granted, that's also the Hasbro connection in the modern era today. So there's that too. But you have an O.J. Simpson reference because it was in 1994 and the O.J. Simpson trials were happening at the same time. Anyone who lived during that will know exactly what I'm talking about. The only thing that kind of, and this is my, hyper geeky nerd brain, especially with me with video games, the little brother came into the kitchen, put down his Game Boy. His Game Boy had sound effects from Super Mario 1, and he was complaining how he couldn't beat Bowser. The Game Boy Mario games, 1, 2, and Wario World, all of them never had Bowser in them. And it was 94, so you didn't have Super Mario Advance yet and stuff like that with the Game Boy Advance. It was an old school brick gray Game Boy. Maybe he was playing Mario 1. Maybe he didn't know Tatango was actually the main villain and not Bowser. I don't know. But, aside from that, a lot of cool 90s references. A lot of 90s music was used, mostly from hip hop and black culture, which was, again, very related to the movie's overall identity in a lot of ways of the rougher areas of New York and stuff. So I loved that a lot. There was a lot of cool stuff with that. Stuff that I mentioned in teasing, I could finally talk about now in a lot of ways. Some of the news that I put out, I would always say, AirRaiser has a an unfortunate fate. And I was always saying that when talking about her over the past 6 months, because that was something that I knew about the movie very early on that a lot of people didn't. Mirage being a quad changer and how him looking like Jazz and sounding like Jazz wasn't that big a deal because there's going to be a bit of a payoff that explains why he isn't a Formula One car. And you do get to see a Formula One car, Mirage, as well as a dump truck and everything else. That's kind of his thing. So there's a lot of cool stuff there for people to take apart and enjoy. Um, I liked it. Again, the thing with me is the title of these movies are the Transformers, and I always want the Transformers to be a big part of that. Look, no offense to the humans, but they really need to be a small part of it. And a lot of it was, the movie opens with Transformer stuff, small little Noah scene, more Transformer stuff, small little Noah scene, more Transformer stuff. Or if Noah's in that scene, a lot of Transformer stuff. This was probably the most we've had Transformers actually talking to each other as if they were characters and not just set pieces in a very long time. In a very, very long time, which is, kind of sad when you think about it. And when I went to see it in the theaters, they obviously played some stuff that we've already seen online, but a lot of interviews with Stephen Caple Jr. They did, and there was a special message by Stephen Caple Jr., director, before the movie saying, "I hope you enjoy this movie" and everything. So there was a personal message to the audience too. So this was clearly a director and an individual that respected the fans and understood what came before. And it's so easy to just throw shade and ruin your name in the industry and go, oh, the guy who came before me didn't know what he was talking about. And he took an approach that he was just gonna tell the fans, like, I hope you enjoy what I did here. I'm a fan just as much as you. And you always hear that a lot of times with a lot of creators and directors and producers and actors. Oh, I was a fan when I grew up. But he truly was one. He truly was one, and I appreciate that a lot because it showed in the movie. It really did. Um, I do have a few gripes, but they're very small. But it's something that it probably could have been fixed with some one or two editing scenes, like literally a half second would have fixed it. But I'll get into that in a moment. But the good, I'll start with the good, and it was the pace. Pace was fantastic. A brisk 2 hours to the dot, including like some after credit stuff, which there is. So be sure to stay for that. Um, it's just something where that's a pace that we need. When you're talking action flicks, especially Transformer ones where it's bam, 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 action piece, set piece, boom, explosion, trying to keep track of everything. Oh, this robot's transforming. Your brain gets fatigued. You get tired almost. And that's something if you do a 3-hour movie, it's going to be brutal. Titanic and Malcolm X. Those are the only two that come to mind in my mind outside of the Lord of the Rings movies. But you know, those movies are 3-hour movies, but they have a different kind of pace that kind of lends to it being a 3-hour movie. Where those Bay movies before, they didn't let up, and that kind of led to pacing issues. And you notice them a lot more in a second and third viewing. I find when you watch it the second or third time, and then you go, "Oh boy, here's going to be this long part of the movie." And that's going to be another 40 minutes before we get the plot moving. This was really good at that. This was really good at character establishment, plot, moving plot forward, MacGuffin. Every movie has a MacGuffin. In this case, it was the transwarp cell or the transwarp driver. So I really like that. I like the Ape Link connection there, having Ape Link in it, that repaint Optimus Primal design. I kind of hope they do a toy, and just make up a robot mode for it. That they could easily just take one of our Optimus Primal movie toys and just kind of give it a silver color scheme and retool. So, hey, Mark, Evan, whoever at Hasbro, make an Ape Link. It's going to be easy. It's going to be an easy one, you know? Um, but I really dig it. I really dig all of those choices of characters. There was no other bigger surprises. I mean, pretty much everyone that we knew on the box was there, from the Maximals, the Autobots, the Terracons, uh, the Scorpion droid, if you want to call them Scorponok or Sandspear, whatever you want to call those, the Freezers, if you will, those two, Unicron. we all kind of knew about this stuff already. So there's no big surprises with that in terms of those characters. There is a surprise at the end. We'll get into that in a moment. Um, Even though we kind of were teased that a little bit too with the news we were talking about a couple of weeks ago. But I dig it. I dig it. There was just a lot of good stuff. I enjoy the character Noah. I enjoy the dynamic that he had with Mirage that made it something that, like, you want to have humor, you want to laugh, because if you're going to be with someone going to see the movie who's not a fan of Transformers and isn't going to get all the references and this and that, at least have them have humor. At least have them enjoy action and have humor so they could walk away from it from those two things. Where, because us as a fans, we have that three layers. Like, even if the movie's not funny and the action doesn't hit, we have all this built-in stuff where we know who Mirage is, we know who RC is, and Wheeljack and all that kind of stuff. So it's, I'm glad that they put humor in it that hits, that is good humor, not potty humor, just actually like good humor that makes us laugh and stuff. And you know, that was good. And I've said this before, where the first Michael Bay movie, the 2007 one, was the Transformer movie we didn't want, but it was the Transformer movie we needed. Which is, it didn't give us everything we wanted from a Transformer movie, but it did everything that it needed to get this franchise in the public eye in a bigger way more than ever. And then the Michael Bay movies, because of the writer strike and the domino effect, all that happens of that. One day, me and Aaron Archer are going to sit down and really talk about the whole drama with that one day, and why those movies really were what they were. I mean, look, if you love Revenge of the Fallen, that's fine, but it's from a cinematography and pace and writing standpoint, there's a whole other conversation there. But we have one of these things where this movie was the movie we wanted and the movie we needed. In that this was the kind of movie that we wanted. We wanted to have robots interacting and having character development. We wanted to have, big robot scenes. We wanted Maximals. We wanted stuff outside of just 84, 85 characters and, the odd 86 character that they would throw in name only. So we wanted Unicron, we wanted Maximals, we wanted, Beast Wars representation, 90s representation, because kids who grew up in the 90s, I'm not a 90s kid, so I'm not taking, a side that's mine. Like, I grew up in the 80s, but I understand that there's kids that are in the 90s now that are in their 30s, and they're the spending audience and the people who go to see these Avengers movies and everything like that. So you have to cater to them. And by putting that in there, that was very important. And just having all that stuff that we needed, but we also wanted. And that's good. And the reason why I say this is the movie we need too, because we need a Transformer movie that breaks away from what we were having the past couple of, dare I say, decade, which was Revenge of the Fallen made a lot of money, but it wasn't a great movie. Dark of the Moon made a lot of money. Some people love it. Me personally, I don't think it's that great a movie. I still feel, out of all the original ones prior to this, like, the 2007 movie was good beginning, middle, and end, good storytelling, and did what it needed to do. It wasn't what we wanted, but it was what we needed, which was, we needed something to kick this all off. And then we just had action piece after action piece afterwards of those movies. Bumblebee was on the right track, but wasn't, Bumblebee was a DLC instead of a full product, I guess is probably the best way to put it. It wasn't a full movie, wasn't a full package, didn't have, you had some great set pieces with the Autobots on Cybertron and stuff, but the bulk of the movie was just Bumblebee, and it was an ET story, if anything. And that's why I kind of hit it didn't hit it everywhere it needed to. But I will say this movie did hit everything it needed to. I forgot to mention Stratosphere's in it too, so we got Stratosphere was in the movie too, as a nice big transforming jet, which I'm pretty sure at some point we'll get maybe a commander class of him or something, if not from the original toy. I look at the old Revenge of the Fallen one back in the day, that's still taller than almost everyone, which is crazy. But suffers from GPS, so be careful if you pick up that old 2009 version. Um, but yeah, it's really good. The things that I was surprised about was just the use of the characters. So I really liked how they used RC more than, they could have just had her be a background character and that. No, there's something there with RC. You could see that there's character development and dynamic there. There's stuff like, I think, the Maximals probably have the weakest element. They came much later in the movie, and I'll get into kind of my more negative criticisms of how they handled the Maximals in some senses. But I do like how they handled the Autobots. I love how Optimus is kind of jaded. He almost felt like I want to say a cliff jumper G1 character or a rat trap where there was a distrust and we're all going to die if we kind of go this route kind of thing. A xenophobia also. And that's very rare for an Optimus character to possess that, but it was also going to be his character development more moment in this movie to have that growth over the movie, to trust the humans and everything like that. And he learns that from a character like Optimus Primal that had that trust with humans, that had that connection with them on a spiritual level and on a social level. And that was really a very different take that I was expecting. And I appreciate that because literally since Optimus Prime has been brought back into our lives in 2000 after Beast Machines ended, excuse me, it's always been I am Optimus Prime, leader of the Autobots. Get out of the way, Megatron. We must, protect the Allspark. Freedom is the right of all sentient. It's always been that stuff, and even Transformers Prime that people love and people celebrate Transformers Prime. But Peter Cullen, and I love Peter Cullen, fellow Montrealer, what, you know. Peter Cullen was literally just reading from the Optimus Prime playbook for the longest time with that show. All the other characters picked up the weight, whether it be RC or Bulkhead or even the human characters and Smokescreen. Uh, but this one, there was an Optimus character that actually was having character development for once, which was very nice to see considering he gets a lot of screen time. Um, Mirage is fantastic. I didn't think I was going to like Mirage as much as I did. I thought Mirage was going to be the Bumblebee replacement and then kind of overstay his welcome, but he's a pretty fun character. Credit to Pete Davidson who voiced him, did a very good job. I was almost kind of scared that they were going to kill him off and we would lose this, but clearly he's going to be around for the future. So that I like him more than I like Bumblebee. Bumblebee, I've never been a big Bumblebee guy. Even in Generation One's incarnation, he's always been the scout, small, weak character. When we were given the Bumblebee of the movies, that is the silent, quips from the radio kind of character that's a warrior that somehow is really OP and powerful and shows up and cleans up house. I've never been a fan of Bumblebee, but I like Mirage. I like how Mirage is. Maybe it's because I grew up in a primary black culture area and hip hop culture and stuff like that. And I kind of connect more with what Noah and Mirage have as a friendship because I could kind of understand that. Going to an all black high school, even in Wager High School, what? um, but I really like Mirage a lot, and I love how, despite the fact that he turns into a Porsche that's clearly jazz, like in visual and inspire, they show, hey, I could turn into different things, and they gave us that Formula One Mirage just for a moment. Hey, he's a Formula One car just for a moment. So if they want to in the future, if they want to sell more toys, because they want to sell you the character again, maybe Mirage will be a Formula One in the next movie. Maybe. And then they could sell you a Formula One toy and a Formula One Smash Changer and a Formula One Fast Action Battler and a Formula One this, and then they could sell you the toys all over again on one character. RC's great, like I said, handled well. I hope I'm not forgetting nobody. Wheeljack. Wheeljack was kind of, for all the memes and everything we were saying online, his role was small in the movie. Kind of shows up, says some geeky stuff, has an accent, and then is kind of relegated to the background not long after that, just to be used in action pieces. So he wasn't too big of a deal in the movie. Uh, when we get to let's do the Terracons. Man, we'll do the Terracons last. When we get to the Maximals, uh, Optimus Primal, great, big focus. All of that stuff is fantastic. Oh, we'll get to Pretender Jazz in a moment. um, that's more of the final stuff. But Optimus Primal was great. Ron Perlman did what he needed to do. I like the way they developed that character. I like his origin, his backstory. It when I was watching the movie, I wasn't sure if they were trying to establish that the planet that they came from, the Maximal planet, if you will, was something from the future. Like this is a future Cybertron that's been terraformed or everything, and they're going back in time and then staying on Earth since prehistoric era. Like it wasn't established at first. So when I'm watching it, and then but it's pretty clear afterwards that this is all in the same timeline. The transwarp cell doesn't involve time travel per se, at least not directly from what we saw. And he's just coming to Earth and he spends time there. It's not established when he did or how long it took. How long did it take for the Terracons to find Earth and do all of that? But it is established that I like that there was at once a Maximal planet. It kind of builds off of what Beast Wars Neo, the Japanese series, did, where, we're far flung in the future of Cybertron and there's different colonies and travel, and the Maximals are all over the place. And I like the idea of a Maximal planet led by Ape Link, and Optimus Primal is second in command, and him being aware of Optimus Prime, the great leaders, which then again made me think, oh, is this a guy from the future? And Optimus has already done all these things. So there's a lot of I love that a lot. There was a lot of that like Maximal love. When we get to some of the other Maximals, like this is where everything kind of falls apart. So Air Razor, cool character, the way she was established, I knew more. I knew more than I was leading on over the while. That she was a tragic character because she would die. I just didn't know that if she was going to transform or not. That was something I was not aware of. It's a shame that she never transforms. There was a scene in the movie where Optimus Primal has to put her out of her misery, and that would have been a cool time to have her transform and just have that one set piece, that one action piece there of her in robot mode before she has to be put out of her misery, for lack of better words. So that was kind of a shame, but I liked her character for when she was there as kind of a narrator for what's going on here. Cheetor and Rhinox, I literally turned to my left to the person I went to see it in the theaters with, and I said to them, would it kill them to do a wide shot of the robot modes? We see plenty of the alt modes of Cheetor and Rhinox. They transform, and we don't like this is something we're going to need to get an HD 4K Blu ray and pause the screen when we actually get a good shot of the robot mode. Because we see there is not a good moment where Cheetor just stops and we get a shot of that robot mode proper. We don't get a scene where Rhinox stops and we get a shot of that robot mode. And even Optimus Primal, we get the funny thing is there's some stuff in the trailers that were cut out of the movie. So, that Optimus Primal spinning the mace, that's not in the movie. There's a lot of stuff, by the way, when you're seeing this movie, you're going to see the scenes that were used in trailers completely modified and edited from what the final version was, which is good and bad because it means you're getting fresh footage, even though you saw trailers. But even Primal, we got maybe one or two close-up shots of his face and his chest a little bit, but not enough that actually shows a full robot mode. If you're someone that loves the beasts in this movie, get ready for knowing these characters as beasts, not robots, which is kind of a shame. That's the only negative I could really give this movie is that, in that the beasts don't have proper robot mode representation and good shots of them. They are there, they're transformed. You're seeing Cheetor for a split second doing, some Bosch stuff, but it's not long enough for your brain to register and actually get a shot of that robot mode. And Rhinox, my goodness, kind of the same thing, unfortunately. So we're going to have to rely on toys, or maybe in the future an art book or something that might show us how those animation models actually look, because me and you both know toys don't represent 100% what a robot mode looks like. It's an interpretation at best. I think that's it I could really say for the Maximals. There's not much else I could say in terms of that. When we get to the Terracons, um, I was kind of hoping that there was going to be something deeper to the character of Scourge, because when he loses his mask, I was kind of hoping there'd be some kind of like big reveal, but it's really just a Phantom of the Opera kind of thing. He loses the mask. We see one side of his face is damaged, so he's clearly just hiding something that clearly in a story building kind of element Unicron came to wherever he was and took him in as his herald, and obviously got damaged in the process before becoming a herald. Battle Trap, not much is given to us there of that character, but he gets taken out. Same thing with Nightbird, she gets taken out. So, the Freezer characters are army builders. The Sand Spears or Scorponok characters are army builders. Freezer is kind of handled like Frenzy was in the 2007 movie, just kind of that ground level kind of character that'll deal with the humans. So that's kind of how Freezer was handled for those scenes, and they made him fun. They made it fun. It gives the humans an element of of suspense and something that us as an audience, when there is human scenes, we could have some fun with them from an action standpoint. If you guys have any super chats or questions, you're welcome to put it in there. Oh, even Aaron Archer's here. What's up, Aaron? I'm spoiling a little bit. I got to apologize. But yeah, so well, that's essentially the Terracons. But again, that whole mask thing, I remember like going like, are they going to do this duality of it's Scourge because it's related to Unicron, but it's Scourge because it's a Black Optimus, and this is an Optimus Prime from the future that was turned. I felt like there was going to be the second that mask fell off. I was like, oh, is there going to be some kind of like twist? Nah, there really wasn't a twist. It was just the Phantom of the Opera. Oh, my face. It's an ugly face. And then Optimus Prime does what Optimus Prime does in the movies. He then enters super crazy battle mode and then just absolutely eviscerates the main baddie, whoever that is at the time, and he absolutely eviscerates Scourge in the movie. Unicron was good. I love how they handled the Unicron scenes. I love the idea of when he contacts them, like you picture in the '86 movie, he used to contact Galvatron, and Galvatron would be like, "Ah, you get out of my head." He would do something similar, but he would do something similar where the whole set piece changes and it's as if he's actually in front of Unicron, and like he could physically hurt him and lift him up and everyone could see but he can't see it, but everyone else is seeing it. I really like that touch and how they handled it. I love that they didn't kill Unicron because that could lead to a Unicron trilogy and building up this character over multiple movies, not killing Mirage, not getting rid of those human characters because we could build up from this and stay in the 90s, 95, 96. Let's go to the 2000s even. If they want to still say that this is part of the Bayverse, well, you got a rubber band until 2006, let's say, of story to tell. And I don't think the actor that plays Anthony Ramos, who plays Noah, I don't think he's going to age 10 years very quickly. Actually, it's more than 10 years if it's going from 94 to 2006, so 12 years. But so I like it. I like it. They did great with that. And then we have the big hook at the end of the movie. The big hook, more than anything, is after it's all said and done, you have Noah sitting in a job interview because there's this thing where he's trying to get a job and he got rejected from getting the job, and now he's trying to get this other job, and the guy sits with him, and this guy knows everything about the Transformers and stuff and what's going on, and everyone in the audience, and I was listening to the audience, everyone's going, Super 7, it's Sector 7, it's Sector 7, it's Sector 7. Everyone, including me, I'm like, oh, so here's the connection. Here's the connection. This guy is from Sector 7, and he's going to recruit Noah into Sector 7. And it wasn't Sector 7. They flip around the business card, and it was G.I. Joe. And they even say G.I. Joe. And I'm like, oh my God. And the whole audience gasped, oh my God. And so this is where they're going to bring in G.I. Joe. This is how G.I. Joe is in a weird place right now. The Snake Eyes movie didn't work out well. If you have a sequel Transformer movie and G.I. Joe is in the background in some way, we're going to have human characters, but they're G.I. Joe characters. We could have Duke, we could have Roadblock, we could have whoever. We could have Scarlet, Snake Eyes, Baroness, whatever. But you could have human characters that are based off of toy property characters that people are beloved. Now, man, you could make money as a Hasbro brand because now let's be real. I thought Noah's a great character in the movie, but you're not selling Noah action figures and Elena action figures and stuff like that. You're not selling those. Look, the Michael Bay movies were great. If you weren't putting it with a fast action, not a fast, a Human Alliance figure or something like that, you weren't buying a Shia LaBeouf figure. You weren't. It just was. You weren't getting a Sam figure. You weren't getting that. So but to do it with GI Joe characters, so we knew there was going to be a crossover that they teased about it, we talked about it here on the podcast. I just didn't know it was going to be in our Rise of the Beast movie right at the end. Boom, GI Joe Transformers, get ready for it. So that's pretty crazy. That I didn't expect, and I always feel I go into these movies sometimes like this, show me something that I don't know, impress me, surprise me. I was surprised there. I did not expect that at all. That was pretty awesome. That was pretty awesome. So, and that's going to be good because it'll be good for the Joe brand that really needs it right now after a bunch of hiccups, a lot of hiccups, a lot of hiccups. And the Joe fans are there. The Joe fans are hardcore. Look, they just did that helicopter with Wild Bill. Within 24 hours, it was funded. The Joe fans are there. The hardcore money spending Joe fans are there. They just don't like a bad movie when they see it. And if at least that they're paired off with their Transformers, maybe we could tell a story. I just hope there's not too many characters. I hope the Transformers don't get lost in the mix with GI Joe. Maybe it's a separate thing. We'll still have Transformer movies, and there'll be a Joe Transformer movie with the Transformer movies. It's like the second, you'll have a Transformer movie, Transformer GI Joe, Transformer movie, Transformer GI Joe. If we could have multiple Marvel movies that all are an interconnected universe, why can't we have different iterations of Transformer movies that are an interconnected universe? So we'll see what happens with that. I'm not going to read too much in something that I don't know much about, but we will see something hopefully in the future that is a smart move, in my opinion. Let's get some water because it was a very long day today. But yeah, um, as for bonuses, the preview screening had where'd that go? What was the little thing that they gave too? So they gave a nice poster. This poster was based off of at the special fan event that they did in Brooklyn a couple days ago on June 3rd. So this was the art piece. I believe it was done by what's his name, Dragon 78, I believe his name was a Japanese artist in New York. So pretty cool, nice little poster they gave there. But the really thing I dug, again as a big Beast Wars guy, they gave a collector's Maximal patch. So that's pretty cool. Nice, like, woven patch. So that's pretty awesome. That was a nice little bonus they gave to the reviewer screening, the advanced screening. So that I dig that a lot. That's pretty cool. I went back and talked to the lady. Can I get another one? The one I have a second one. Maybe I could put it on my racing uniform or something. So pretty cool. Dig that. I love how it wasn't an Autobot patch. The easy thing to do is give an Autobot patch, but I'm glad that they went with a Maximal one. So that's pretty awesome. Also, again, just to kind of give this movie pace, storytelling, characters, everything like that. I like it. The last thing to cover, the exo-suit, if you will. I mean, a lot of people are saying, "Oh, it's a pretender armor. Oh, it's this, it's that." It. I see the pretender armor connection because it's transformer pieces attaching. Where it's pretender armors, it was the other way around. It's organic going on top of a transformer, I guess. Depending on which iteration. Obviously, Masterport Force has a different kind of iteration too. I compare this kind of a little bit to actually Kicker from Energon, aka Superlink, where the armor was a gift given by Ironhide, aka Roadbuster in the Japanese continuity. It was a gift to Kicker, and this armor made Kicker really powerful, and he was able to kill the more weaker characters, like the little Terracons. Oddly enough, that's what they were called too. You know, so it's something where I see it more as a connection to the Kicker outfit in a lot of ways for Noah, and I think it's cool. I think the CG for the face was a little weird, but it kind of also reminded me of what was that Matt Damon movie where he was on Mars? It kind of reminded me of that, which is it's kind of hard to make it look cool where you have like the human face in a spacesuit and make it look like dynamic if you don't have a mouthpiece or something, but you want to show that it is the actor. So there's always that kind of difficulty. um, it being part of Mirage, how they rebuilt Mirage, that was kind of weird, but again, whatever. Like I don't hate it too much, but that was kind of bizarre. If I had to rate the movie, um, it's definitely like better than Revenge of the Fallen, Dark of the Moon, Age of Extinction, The Last Night, Bumblebee. I think it's right there with Transformers 2007. But here's the thing, I've seen Transformer 2007 a ton of times, multiple times in theaters, and my opinion of it is because of those multiple viewings and the storytelling element of it, and like even the subtle things. Sam sucks at football, and then at the end of the final scene of the movie, he's holding the Allspark like a football, and he has his team covering him as he goes to bring. There was a lot of subtle writing there that was quite clever with the 2007 movie that maybe I've missed so far with seeing this one. But so far already, it's pretty there. It's pretty there for them. Like, and it's not just my bias and my love of Beast Wars and that, because the Beast characters, in my opinion, were probably one of the weaker elements. It was the fact that there was storytelling with those robots. It was the fact that there was character development with those robots. It's the fact that the robots actually talk with each other. They actually communicate. They actually argue. They actually grow. Shocking that that happens in a Transformer movie. So the fact that that existed, that was unfortunately absent from the others. I mean, look, Hot Rod's my favorite character of all time. Why isn't The Last Night, the best Transformer movie of all time in my mind? Because it's not a good movie. It's quite a strain of a movie, even though there's good characters like Cogman in it, for a moment. But the point is that this is really good. Probably the best of the live action movies we've gotten thus far. Maybe better than 2007. I need to watch it a few more times to make that final verdict, but it's up there. It's up there. It's a distant up there behind all that other stuff that from number 2 down, including Bumblebee movie. Bumblebee movie, I think didn't stick the landing too much as I think they would have hoped. So that's my take on it. I don't know what you guys feel. There's some people that already saw it, and they have their opinions. I bumped into an individual that recognized me. I apologize that I didn't get his name. I was just sitting at my seat, and then someone's like, "Excuse me, are you Proto Man?" If you're here in the chat, brother, thanks for the kind words and everything. Um, it was kind of embarrassing because you have other people in the theater. It's like, who's this guy? Is he the director or something? Like sometimes that happens. So yeah, that was pretty humbling and everything. That was really cool. But yeah, I loved it. I thought it was very good. Um, I hope there's more of that. I want more of that. I hope that they learn from it. Stephen Caple Jr., you did a very good job as a director. Clearly, you had a love for this, and you did a very good job. Peter Cullen spoke very highly of you. And I will say this as someone who spoke to Peter Cullen personally, um, he didn't have nice things to say about Michael Bay or those movies that he did before. So that says a lot, you know? That says a lot. But great movie. Great movie. You will not be disappointed as a Transformer fan. You will not be disappointed as a casual fan because I went with people who are not big Transformer fans and they get something out of it. And that's very important is going to these movies and having people that aren't Transformer fans come with you and seeing how they enjoy it because those people are the ones that make up the $900 million ticket sales, the $1 billion ticket sales. Those are the ones that make it, not us. And so as long as we enjoy it, that's fine. But we're showing up every time, anyways. We're going to show up every time, even if this was the worst movie ever. It's like, oh, this is the worst movie ever, and I'm not going to watch another Transformer movie until the next one. And we're going to be there for the next one, the next one, the next one. We're always going to be there. But you got to get those casual people and this movie did stuff for casual people. It did something good. I think Mirage helped a lot with that. He kept up the energy. I think that the music was very good, but maybe just that's my choice of music and stuff like that. So that helped a lot. The actors were good. There was a good element there. A little bit of Indiana Jones, a little bit of Raiders of the Lost Ark. I was getting a little bit of that first. I like that kind of ancient Egypt. I'm the kind of person that likes watching ancient Egyptian archaeology kind of stuff and everything. And it's just had a little bit of that too, with the transwarp cell and them finding the maximal layer and stuff like that. It's funny because that whole scene, I'll give you a little behind the scenes with that. That whole scene with the maximal layer that was built in Montreal. And we thought that the Maximals had a hidden base in New York, which is where it was recorded in Montreal. And now we know that whole thing was just them going down that cavern. Like it was just for that. And then they blue screened everything around it. So sometimes when you see it being recorded, you don't realize in the moment what you're seeing. Same thing, like me saying, "Oh, Mirage has multiple alt modes." It's because they wrote in that Formula One, all those designs, and me going like, "Oh, is Mirage gonna have different alt modes?" Like a lot of crazy stuff. But I love it. I think it was really well done. I give it if in my opinion, if the Michael Bay, Steven Spielberg, because I'll always include Spielberg with that first 2007 movie, if that first 2007 movie is a 9, because I give that a 9 because it had a great soundtrack, great everything. This is either an 8 or a 9. It's not a perfect movie. It does have its flaws. Would it kill you for 1 second to just have Cheetor boom, boom? Here's what he looks like, so you could see those characters. So it does have its flaws, but aside from that, it's an 8 to a 9 probably an 8 right now. I need to see it a few more times to like really digest it and see if it's good. But so far it's an 8, where stuff like Revenge of the Fallen, Dark of the Moon, Age of Extinction, The Last Night, those were 6s, 5s, 4s in my opinion. And maybe you love them. That's cool. Hey, if you got something out of them, that's great. If you grew up on them, that sometimes blurs your vision, but whatever. Um, but those were much lower on the scale, in my opinion. Bumblebee movies, one of those, it was a solid 7, I think I gave it. It was a serviceable movie, but it didn't give us everything that we wanted. Like I said, Transformers 2007 was the movie we didn't want, but it was the movie we needed. And this movie was the movie we wanted, but we also needed to. And it did that. And so I really like that a lot. That's all I'm going to say. I just wanted to do this live stream just to kind of give my 2 cents while it's still fresh. I didn't want to have to record it and edit and everything, and then I'm going to forget stuff. So it looks like our next trip in that journey is going to be the real American heroes, if that's how they want to tackle it. But that will be interesting. But we also have a animated movie in 2024 that's going to be next. So we have this, we got an animated movie, a G.I. Joe crossover, and then whatever's to come afterwards. I hope Stephen Cable Jr. Returns. He did a very good job. Great directing, great editing, great action scenes. And I hope you guys also enjoyed it as much as I did. For those who did see it today, I'll probably be seeing it again in the future. If not, that'll be that. I just want to say also, as a quick note, too, in a Beast kind of related fashion, the latest episode of the Toy Armada with Aaron Archer is live. We posted it a couple days ago before the Rise of the Beast movie. Go check out that segment. We talk about the creation of the Transmetal 2s and the mysterious origin of Optimal Optimus and how that toy almost didn't even happen. So go check that out. Just throw that in your search algorithm for YouTube, the Toy Armada with Aaron Archer, and hear me and Hasbro's Aaron Archer talk about the creation of Beast Wars and some of its most iconic things. So go check that out too. But that's it, more or less, guys. Thanks again for coming and talking with me about the robots in disguise and everything like that. Thanks for everyone who came in the chat here. And we will have a segment on Saturday. So this is just a special live stream, if anything, that we just popped out of nowhere. Just wanted to take, a good hour to just kind of give my thoughts and everything about the movie. I like it. I do want to see it again. And the big thing I could take away from it is give me an ape-link figure. I actually want an ape-link figure. That character, there's more meat on the bone. I want to know more about him. That's sometimes it's those Boba Fett characters that have nothing that you want more from. So I think that's another thing too. But that's it, more or less. Again, thank you everyone for coming. We got some of our YouTube members that popped in and everything. So I'll call it a night tonight. I'm going to go relax. It was a long night. And thanks again to Cineplex for sending me to get the advanced screening and all the cool little stuff that came with it. Thank you for the fans who also were able to recognize me in the theaters. I'm out of here, guys. Take care. We'll see you next time. And stay frosty. I'm out of here. See ya.